Hello everyone. Today we are learning an interesting endgame from the past. It is a famous game between the Magnus Carlsen and Sergei Karjakin in the World Championship match 2016. It is the game number 10 and Magnus has a white pieces. After the 9 games completed, Magnus is down 1 point till now and his World Championship crown is at the stake, and it is the exactly showing that why Magnus is known for his endgames. Let's see the game. Magnus plays e4, Karjakin plays e5, knight f3, knight c6 and bishop b5. So Magnus plays a rule Lopez, knight f6, d3, bishop c5, c3, castles, bishop g5, h6, bishop h4, bishop e7, castles, d6, knight b to d2, knight h5, bishop into e7, queen into e7, knight c4, knight f4, knight e3, queen f6, g3, knight h3 check, king h1, knight e7, bishop c4, c6, bishop b3, knight g6, queen e2, a5, a4, bishop e6, bishop into e6, f into e6, knight d2, d5, queen h5, knight to g5, h4, knight f3, knight into f3, queen into f3, queen into f3, rook into f3. This is the endgame position we want to learn. So first, white king attacks the rook on the f3 by king g2. So rook moves back to the f7. King g2, rook f7. Now white removes the rook from the f file and put it on the e file, where he wants to put the pressure with all the pieces. So white played rook f to e1. Black played h5 to prevent knight g4 jump and attack on the loose e5 pawn. So black plays h5. Knight goes to f1 with intention of moving the knight to d2 and then f3 to attack the weak e5 pawn. Black king marches toward the center to protect that e5 pawn. So king f8. Now knight d2, king e7, rook e2, king d6, defending this e5 pawn. Knight f3 attacking the e5 pawn, rook a to f8. Now knight g5, rook to e7, rook a to e1, rook f to e8. White has doubled the rook on the e file and putting a pressure on the e file. And after the knight h8, the white is ready to push d4. So here white plays knight f3 and knight h8. So white is ready to push d4. d4, e into d4, knight into d4. So trade happens and white knight get the beautiful square d4. g6, rook to e3, knight f7, e5 check, king to d7. From the beginning until now, white has made a lot of progress. As you can see, earlier all the pieces are on the back rank and knight on the third rank. And now one rook is on the third rank with the battery formation and knight is on the strong d4 square, controlling lot of central square, and black is somewhat not able to make a progress and shuffling on the 7th rank and the 8th rank only. So after king d7, black has another weakness that well spotted by the white, and that is pawn on g6 square. So it is a white's next target. So here white plays rook f3 with intention of rook to f6, knight h6, rook f6. It is attacking the both the uh, pawn on g6 and pawn on e6. Now rook g7 defending g6. It is the Magnus endgame technique that he uses the all board at once, and he can attack on the both sides of the board simultaneously because of the whole board awareness. So after rook g7, he plays b4, a into b4, c into b4, knight g8 attacking the white rook. Rook moves to f3. After knight h6, a5 is played, gaining the space and stopping the b3 and c4 by black. So knight h6, now a5. Black plays knight f5. After knight f5, white is attracted toward the another good square for its knight, and that is c5 square. So white goes knight b3 and with intention of knight c5. From there it is controlling and attacking both backward pawns b7 and e6. So knight b3, king c7. King goes to c7 to defend the b7 pawn. Knight comes to c5, knight c5. Now king b8, rook b1, king a7. Rook d3 is played to prevent knight d4. Now rook c7. Now white wants to go to a file where the black king currently is. So rook a3 is played and knight jumps to d4. Another rook is kicking that knight away by rook d1. Knight f5. After knight f5, white's plan is to play f3, but if white play f3 here, then the knight jumps on e3, forking the king and the rook. So first white removes the king from the g2 and places on the h3 first. So king h3. Knight h6. Now f3. So black is attacking the f3 pawn now. Rook f7. Now rook d4. Knight comes back to f5 attacking rook on the d4. Rook moves back, rook d2. Rook goes to h7, rook h7. Rook b3. Rook e to e7. Rook d to d3. Rook h8. Rook b1. After this rook b1, black must play rook c8, but he plays rook h to h7. Let's see, after rook c8, if black plays rook c8 here, then white plays b5. C into b5, rook into b5. Now d4. Now white's plan is rook b6 and double attack on the e6 pawn. But if white plays here rook b6, then c5 knight is hanging. So he cannot play rook b6 here. So black must go rook to c8 on the 56th move. But black goes rook h to h7. So next move is b5. C into b5, rook into b5. Now d4. Now here white can go rook b6 because white knight is not hanging here. So rook b6 attacking on the e6 pawn. Now rook attacks the knight on c5, but knight can now move and knight into e6 is played. Now rook c3 attacking the undefended rook on the d3. White protects the rook with knight f4. Now black the double the rook on the c file. So rook h2 c7. Now white plays knight to d5 and it is a very tactical move which is defending d3 rook. Rook into d3, knight into c7. King b8 attacking the knight, knight moving away, knight b5. King c8, now g6 pawn is hanging, so rook into g6. f3 pawn is also hanging, rook into f3. King g2 attacking the rook on the f3. Rook moves and attack the knight, rook b3, knight jumps to d6, check. Knight takes, rook takes. Rook e3, e6. King c7 attacking d6 rook. So rook takes d4 and rook takes e6. Now rook d5. It is a very useful move. It is protecting the a5 pawn and also attacking h5 pawn. Black must go rook h6 to defend the h5 pawn. So rook h6. Here white is up a pawn and winning. Black rook is stuck defending the h5 pawn on which white rook is constantly attacking from d5. White's plan is to bring the king towards the g5 square, attack the rook with the king and win that h5 pawn. King f3, king b8, king f4, king a7, king g5, rook h8 and king f6. So after king f6, black has resigned the game because this game is already winning for white. Next move for the white is king g7 and black rook cannot defend the h5 pawn and h5 pawn is falling. Connected pass pawn on g3 and h4 is winning for white, so black has resigned this game. This game what we have learned today is a typical Magnus Carlsen endgame grind. Hope you like it. Thank you.